let's face it, we all want to think about very little when we're set up over the golf ball, but we find ourselves riddled with swing thoughts. You've got to remember that, sure, you need swing mechanics, and that's important, and it's mostly important to work on those on the range, but what breeds good natural mechanics and proper swing positions is if you start in the right position at the get-go. So the basics of grip posture and stance are super, super important. So let me give you some of the cliff notes or the highlights so that you can check yourself, get your body in the right position so that you've got the best chance for success with your swing. You don't have to be a great athlete to have good setup because it's a static position. You just have to know what it is you need to do and how to check it. So here's some key points. Number one, we need to learn to bend over from our hip bones and get a nice counterbalance between our chest and our rear. So I'm using this pole as a demonstration, trying to set up to it where my ankle joint, my knee joint, and my hip joint are basically all dissecting that pole. When I bend over properly, my hip bones literally push back behind the pole line, and that tilts my torso forward. And there's a nice counterbalance there. That allows my arms to naturally hang underneath my shoulder line without any tension, and thus that's where I need to have the handle. So I'm going to bring the handle into me. Now, keep in mind, when I do this, I want to know that the end of this handle points about on the line of my hips, more specifically at the left hip. So if there was a laser coming out of the end of this handle, it would point at my left hip line or hip bone, okay? If you have that, then that's going to allow you to bend over enough and generally will give you very close to a 90-degree angle relationship between the shaft line and your spine line. So if you drew a line on my spine and then through my shaft, they would dissect very closely at a 90-degree angle. But most people we see are more in the knees and the handle's high. So I want you to take particular note of the analogy or thought of the laser in the end of the handle, because that's going to allow the club to sit correctly on the ground, and it's going to force you to bend over from your hip bones more than perhaps you have in the past. And understanding that your hands should be relaxed and unencumbered by your legs. If you don't have enough tilt in the hips, your hands, when they hang right up against your legs. So set the angle, let the arms dangle. Make sure that laser coming out of the end of the handle is pointed right through your left hip bone and hip line. Place your hands on the handle, and that's another lesson in itself. And then you're ready to go. Try those three things and check them in a mirror. Check them on their cell phone to make sure that you're where you think you are, because as long as I've been working in this game and playing the game, I've recognized that feel and real are very different places. So if you're over in the San Diego area and you're looking for a coach to help you with these things and to further your game, come see me. I'm over at Stadium Golf Center.